Part 31. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 301. It didn't take long for the news of the destruction of the Kang Kingdom to reach Zindu City, the capital of the Dragon Kingdom. When Lu Feng learned that the Kang Kingdom was destroyed, and that the Shu and Wei kingdoms were separated in Yizhu and Jiangdong, and they formed an alliance to resist him together, he was very shocked. Lu Feng originally thought that as he came to this world and changed the development of history little by little, this world had already undergone major deviations from the original history. At least, in Lu Feng's original thoughts, with his rise and the death of Sun Ce, Sun Quan surrendered to his account under the leadership of Zhou Yu, and the troubled times of the three kingdoms in history where talents were abundant would never happen again. But I didn't expect that after so many years of going around in circles, even if I had changed history many times, even if Dong Zhou died early, even if Lu Buledin did not become a slave of the three surnames, and even if the Han dynasty had perished long ago, the era of the three kingdoms would still come as scheduled. However, the originally most powerful Wei state no longer existed, and was replaced by the Dragon state established by Lu Feng, and the Dragon state was even more powerful than the previous Wei state. Compared with the Wei state in history, the Dragon state not only occupied Liangzhou in advance, but also conquered large areas of foreign lands north of Yuzhou such as Goguryeo, Xianbei, and Fuyu, and established foreign states. Coupled with the dragon warriors, Longbowmen, red-blooded dragon knights and other super troops under the Dragon Kingdom, together with Zhao Yun, Dianwei, Ma Chao, Tai Shi Ci, etc., they almost included the top generals of the three kingdoms of Wei, Shu, and Wu in history. This kind of strength is far away. Far more than the Wei state in history. As for the remaining two countries, the Wei state moved from the historical north to Jiangdong. Not only did it lose a lot of territory, but its loyal ministers such as Sun Yu, Guoqia, and Dianwei all switched to the Dragon state. As for the kingdom of Shu, although it still occupied Sichuan as in history, it also lacked strong generals such as Zhao Yun and Ma Chao, and people who were loyal to Liu Bei such as Mi Zhu and Sun Qian did not follow him into Sichuan. But no matter what, the Three Kingdoms era finally arrived, which made Lu Feng feel a little fear in his heart. It is as if there is a big hand that can change destiny invisibly, and has been guiding history to develop along the original route as much as possible. What really frightens Lu Feng is that since the Three Kingdoms era has arrived as scheduled, will it still end with the unification of the Jin dynasty after the end of the Three Kingdoms? Although this seems impossible now, Lu Feng still has a thought in his heart, that is, he must not take it lightly at any time, and he must be wary of Sima Yi who appears at any time. Just when Lu Feng was thinking wildly, Guoqiu found Lu Feng. He suggested to Lu Feng, "Your Majesty, now Sisu has become the territory of the Dragon Kingdom, and the eastern capital Luoyang and the western capital Chang'an have also returned to your Majesty. Although Zindu City is good, its location is a bit biased and cannot be defended. Therefore, Jia believes that His Majesty should move the capital." After listening to Guoqiu's words, Lu Feng also thought that the two most commonly used capitals in history were Chang'an and Luoyang, so he asked, in this case, for the sake of filial piety, should the capital be moved to Luoyang or Chang'an? Guoqiu had already thought about the answer. When Lu Feng asked, he said, "Jia thinks the capital should be moved to Luoyang. From a geographical point of view, Luoyang is located on the south bank of the middle reaches of the Yellow River, spanning Yi, Luo, and there are several rivers in the stream, leaning against Mang Mountain in the north, facing Yuk in the south, Hulao in the east, and Xiaoban in the west. It is known as rivers and mountains are crowned by rivers and mountains, and its shape is outstanding in the world. Moreover, Luoyang is a country that relies on danger for defense and is surrounded by tigers. The place where the Dragon Pan is located is adjusted to the center, blocking the Xiao Valley to the west, Jingshan Mountain to the east, Shaoxi to the south, and the Dayou and Three Rivers to the north. It is a country with 4 obstacles due to wind and rain. Moreover, Luoyang is located in the middle of the world and has a dangerous geographical location. Has always been a battleground for military strategists. In addition, the Yuluo plain is fertile, with developed waterways and convenient water transportation. It can well solve the supply problem of the capital, allowing the emperor to sit in the center, control the world, and concentrate on maintaining his rule. From then on, from the historical perspective, moving the capital to Luoyang is in line with the orthodoxy of the Han dynasty and is conducive to the return of the world. Therefore, Jia asks His Majesty to order the capital to be moved to Luoyang as soon as possible. After listening to Guojia's analysis, Lu Feng agreed to Guojia's proposal after thinking for a while. 2 days later, Dragon Emperor Lu Feng, who had everything sorted, went to the palace in Luoyang with Queen Lu Xian, concubine Cai Yan, concubine Diao Chan and wolf concubine Lu Linqi under the escort of hundreds of officials of the Dragon Kingdom. Luoyang was originally dilapidated after being burned by Dongzhou, but later, as Li Ju, Guo Si and Yuan Shao developed here successively, especially when Yuan Shao still established his capital in Luoyang, Luoyang regained its vitality. After Lu Feng arrived in Luoyang, Ma Chao also brought Lu Buletin, Zhang Liao, Chen Gong, Gao Shun and other generals from the Wolf Kingdom to Luoyang to meet the Dragon Emperor. Lu Buletin actually had very complicated feelings about meeting the Dragon Emperor. On the one hand, he knew that Lu Fengnian would not kill him because of Lu Linqi's affection, but on the other hand, as a surrender general, especially a surrender general who first formed an alliance with the Dragon Emperor and then actively rebelled, and was eventually captured, even if the Dragon Emperor did not kill him he must have been humiliated. But he, Lu Buletin, had been on the battlefield for decades and was almost invincible in the world. As a peerless general, he had his own pride. This pride made him absolutely unable to bear the humiliation of others. Although the Dragon Emperor was also a peerless general and the only general who had defeated him, Lu Buletin, if the Dragon Emperor humiliated him, he could tolerate it a little, but he would definitely be very resentful in his heart. Therefore, Lu Buletin didn't know if he could hold back his impulse if the Dragon Emperor humiliated him. But Lu Buletin's worries did not come true, because Lu Feng never wanted to humiliate him. Not only because Lu Feng, as a peerless military general, knew that Lu Buletin was proud and would not allow others to humiliate him, but more importantly, as a time traveler, Lu Feng still had a certain amount of respect for Lu Buletin, a nominal father-in-law. And since he had promised Lu Linqi not to kill Lu Buletin, and Lu Buletin had unparalleled martial arts skills, Lu Feng actually really wanted him to serve under him. Therefore, Lu Feng's first words when he saw Lu Buletin were as natural as reminiscing about old friends reunited for many years. Feng Xian, long time no see. Lu Buletin originally lowered his head and did not look at the Dragon Emperor who was sitting high above him. But when he heard these words, he couldn't help but tremble. He looked up at the Dragon Emperor in front of him, and couldn't help but think of the fight he had with Lu Feng when the princes challenged Dong. That was the first time in his life that he lost in a single fight, and that battle had a profound impact on him. Lu Feng didn't wait for Lu Buletin to answer, and said directly, Feng Xian is brave, and he is the best in the world. But even if he becomes the invincible god of war, he is definitely different from the eternal king. You surrender to me, and I will make you a true god of war. 3 Kingdoms, I have a job transfer palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 302. Lu Buletin was very surprised after hearing Lu Feng's words. After all, he was a surrender general, and he had done things that were sorry to the Dragon Kingdom, but Lu Feng not only didn't mention this matter, but also took the initiative to talk about his most proud martial arts. He even said that as long as he could surrender to him, he would become the true god of war. Lu Feng's words not only gave Lu Buletin enough face, but also gave Lu Buletin what he wanted most, which was improvement in martial arts. Since the Dragon Emperor has said so, how can he, Lu Buletin, make any other requests? Therefore, after Lu Feng finished speaking, Lu Buledin did not say much. Instead, he immediately knelt straight and said to Lu Feng, His Majesty the Dragon Emperor has great talent and great strategy. He is unrivaled throughout the ages. He serves the Dragon Emperor. Nabu, it's an honor. From now on, Buledin is willing to serve under the Dragon Emperor forever, and he will go through fire and water, no matter what. After saying this, Lu Buledin lowered his body and knelt on the ground. Seeing that Lu Buledin was so obedient, Lu Feng stepped down from the dragon chair himself and was about to help Lu Buledin up. He said with a smile, Please get up quickly. It's not the first time you and I have met, and your daughter is already here. Marry me as the wolf concubine. Speaking of which, Feng Xian can be regarded as a relative. We are all one family, so we don't a Euro trademark T need to be so polite in the future. Lu Buledin stood up with Lu Feng a Euro trademark's help. At that moment, he may have let go. Lu Feng's obsession may have moved him because of what Lu Feng did. He felt his body and mind relax, as if he hadn't been so relaxed in a long time. He no longer had to work hard for thousands of people, and no longer had to worry about attacks from other countries. At this time, Lu Buledin finally became a pure military commander again. With Lu Buledin's sincerity in surrender, it was much easier for Zhang Liao, Gao Shun and Chen Gong to defect to the Dragon Kingdom. Historically, because Cao killed Lu Buledin, Chen Gong and Gao Shun both chose to follow Lu Buledin and died heroically. Only Zhang Liao surrendered because he was not reused under Lu Buledin and was impressed by Cao. But because Lu Buledin surrendered at this time, Gao Shun and Chen Gong naturally did not need any psychological pressure and were directly included in Lu Feng's command. Later, Lu Feng ordered Dian Wei to take Lu Buledin, Zhang Liao and others to the job transfer hall to transfer jobs. Only by going through the job transfer hall can Lu Buledin and others' loyalty to Lu Feng be truly guaranteed. Of course, as Lu Feng moved the capital of the Dragon Kingdom to Luoyang, it would obviously not be appropriate to place the transfer palace in Dragon City. After all, Dragon City is located in Liaodong, more than 1,000 miles away from Luoyang. The journey for people to change jobs is really too long. But fortunately, the transfer hall was Lu Feng's exclusive magic weapon, and its size could be changed completely, so when Lu Feng moved the capital, he had already brought it with him to Luoyang. After that, Lu Feng quietly placed the transfer hall in a mountain on the outskirts of Luoyang City. Like Big Bear Mountain in Longcheng, that mountain was also listed as a military restricted area by Lu Feng, and there were special soldiers to handle the prohibition. Miscellaneous people are waiting to enter. Not long after, Lu Buledin and others, led by Dian Wei, arrived at the job transfer hall. Both Lu Buledin and Chen Gong and others were very surprised by the appearance of such a strange palace in the mountains. After all, they had stayed in Sizhou for many years, and they didn't know when such a palace appeared outside Luoyang City. Under Dian Wei's urging, several people entered the job transfer hall, and then under the leadership of the job transfer elves, all four of them completed the job transfer. Chen Gong became a counselor at the peak of rank 3, Zhang Liao was also a general at rank 3, Gao Shun became a rank 2 general, and Lu Buledin became the first rank 5 general after Lu Feng. After becoming a 5th level general, Lu Buledin also had the blessing of 5 job-changing skills, and his strength was also greatly enhanced. After Lu Buledin, Bing Zhoulanqi also completed the job transfer in the job transfer hall and became an early level 7th level soldier. Liu Bei and Cao were still a little surprised that Lu Buledin surrendered to the Dragon Kingdom. They did not expect that Lu Feng would accept Lu Buledin's surrender. After all, in their hearts, Lu Buledin's capriciousness and unrighteousness were enough to make them suspicious of Lu Buledin, and they did not want to have such a person around them who might rebel at any time. At the same time, they were also incredulous that Lu Buledin was willing to return to the dragon-subduing kingdom. Was it because he wanted to prevent his daughter from being involved in the difficult decision? Was it because he was tired, or was he really impressed by Lu Feng's strength? Although they could not guess the real reason at all, the fact was that now that the Dragon Kingdom had a peerless general like Lu Buledin, the Dragon Kingdom's strength had been greatly improved. At least in terms of the strength of the generals, with Lu Buledin, plus Zhao Yun, Dian Wei, Ma Chao, Tai Shi Ci and others, it is indeed more difficult for Xu and Wei to compete with them. At the same time, Lu Feng accidentally heard about the whereabouts of Su Huang, one of Cao's 5 great generals in history, in Luoyang. Historically, Su Huang was originally a subordinate of the chariot and cavalry general Yang Feng. Because of his meritorious service with Yang Feng in defeating bandits, he was promoted to the rank of cavalry captain. Later, after Dong Zhou's death, Li Ju and Guo Si caused trouble in Chang'an. Su Huang took advantage of the internal strife between Li Ju and Guo Si to persuade Yang Feng to escort Emperor Xian of Han Dynasty back to Luoyang, and persuaded Yang Feng to surrender to Cao. From then on, he became a famous general under Cao, fought for Cao Wei all his life, and made many military exploits. However, due to the appearance of Lu Feng, Emperor Xian of the Han Dynasty was killed by Li Ru, and there was no longer a bridge between Emperor Xian of the Han Dynasty returning to Luoyang and Cao going to Salai to welcome the emperor. In the end, Su Huang did not become Cao's subordinate as in history. In this life, Su Huang still followed Yang Feng, but later Han Xian Emperor was killed by Li Ru, and he stayed in Luoyang. When Lu Buledin, Yuan Shao and Ma Teng attacked Salai together, and Li Ju and Guo Si fled to Wanqing, Yang Feng also followed. However, Su Huang saw that Li Ju and Guo Si were not Ming masters, so he stayed behind Luoyang. After Yuan Shao proclaimed himself emperor and occupied Luoyang, Su Huang became the captain of Luoyang. Unfortunately, he was not a direct descendant of Yuan Shao, and he was not from a noble family, so he was in name only and had no military power, just like a transparent person. Later, Feng Kingdom was destroyed and Lu Buledin occupied Luoyang. He was still the captain of Luoyang. After Lu Feng arrived in Luoyang and learned of Su Huang's existence, he immediately ordered someone to invite him to the palace. After a heart-to-heart exchange between the two, Lu Feng entrusted Su Huang with an important task. Su Huang was also extremely surprised that the Dragon Emperor knew that he was such an unknown general. At the same time, he also felt like he was going to meet the Ming Lord. At this point, Zhang Liao, Su Huang, Gao Shun, together with Tai Shi Ci and Zhang He, formed the 5 tiger generals of the Dragon Kingdom. Lu Feng then selected 120,000 soldiers from the surrendered armies of Feng and Wolf kingdoms for transfer, becoming third-level troops, and evenly distributed them among Lu Buledin, Zhang Liao, Gao Shun and Su Huang. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 303. With the formation of the 3 kingdoms, the only opponents of the Dragon Kingdom were Wei and Shu. Moreover, Wei and Shu had just captured Jiaozhou, and their national power was empty. In addition, Jiaozhou was newly settled, people's hearts were unstable, and there were foreign tribes in Shanyu that needed to be pacified, so Lu Feng originally wanted to take the opportunity to attack Shu and Wei. So Lu Feng found Guojia and Sun Yu, proposed this plan to them, and prepared to discuss the battle plan with Guojia and Sun Yu. Lu Feng said to the 2 of them, now Shu and Wei have taken advantage of our country to pacify the Wolf Kingdom to take the Kang Kingdom into their hands. Once the Kang Kingdom is destroyed, no one in the south will be able to send troops to attack Jingzhou and contain Shu and Wei. The strength of the country's military forces has made their alliance stronger. If time goes on, the Shu-Wei alliance will become even more difficult to shake. At this time, they have just occupied Jiaozhou, which happens to be sparsely populated and has a vast territory. It is difficult for them to be completely stable for a while. The situation in Jiaozhou. Moreover, There are many foreign races such as Shanyu in Jiaozhou. I decided to send troops to attack Jingzhou while Shu and Wei were busy stabilizing Jiaozhou and suppressing Shanyu. With Shanyu to distract them, they should not have too many. We are focusing our energy on our side, so with the strength of the Dragon Kingdom, we should be able to capture Jingzhou quickly. As long as Jingzhou is in our hands, the connection between Shu and Wei will be terminated, and their alliance will not attack self-destruction. Wenruo, Feng Xiao, how do you two think I should deploy my troops, where and how to attack Jingzhou in order to achieve the fastest speed and get twice the result with half the effort? Lu Feng finished talking to Sun Yu and Guojia was silent for a moment, and then the two of them raised their heads and looked at each other. Then Guojia said, Your Majesty, although Shu and Wei have just conquered Kang, they really need to stabilize the situation in Jiaozhou. It does seem like an excellent time to attack Jingzhou. But we can see that Emperor Shu and Emperor Wei may not. It cannot be seen. Whether it is Cao or Liu Bei, they are different from our previous opponents Yuan Shao and Liu Biyu. They are the heroes of the world, and their city and mentality are far beyond what Yuan Shao, Liu Buletin, and others can compare with. What's more, the state of Shu has Prime Minister Jia Su, and the state of Wei has Prime Minister 11's He. Both of them are super strategists, and they must have long thought that our country is likely to take the opportunity to attack the two countries. Therefore, I believe that Liu Bei and Cao will attack Jiaozhou at this time. And to calm down the political situation in Jiaozhou and expose Jingzhou to the front line, it is most likely the plan of Jia Su and 11's He. They may have set up ambush at the place where Sizhou and Jingzhou must pass. As long as our army is dispatched, they will destroy our army with thunderous force. Therefore, Jia believes that this is not the best time to attack Jingzhou. Lu Feng was a little shaken after hearing Guojia's analysis, but he was still unwilling to stop here, continued, but this is indeed a good opportunity to break the alliance between the two countries. Since Feng Xiao has guessed that they are likely to set up an ambush, then I will send more manpower. Based on the two of you's understanding of 11's He, we will definitely be able to break his ambush. However, after Lu Feng finished speaking, Guojia continued to shake his head and said, Have you forgotten, Your Majesty, Jingzhou is actually not the only state and county where Shu and Wei can get in touch. With the demise of Wu, Yizhou was also divided between Shu and Wei. Even though Yizhou and Yizhou were not connected, the two countries had just joined forces to conquer Jiaozhou. Even if Jingzhou was gone, if Shu and Wei really wanted to discuss the alliance, the contact point can be placed in Jiaozhou. Moreover, although Jia and Wenruo knows He also knows our two thoughts. In addition, there is an old fox named Jia Su in Shu, so our army may not be able to accurately guess them. Therefore, it is not cost-effective to waste a large number of troops to capture a state that is not of such great strategic significance. After hearing Guojia's words, Lu Feng turned to look at Sun Yu again and asked, When, if you have any ideas, are you opposed to sending troops at this time? Although Sun Yu also had outstanding military talents, he was now in charge of the government affairs of the Dragon Kingdom, so he only put forward his own views from a political and economic perspective. Sun Yu said, Your Majesty, although Yu is also confident of taking Jingzhou, as Feng Xiao said, the cost of taking Jingzhou is too high and it is not appropriate. Moreover, after continuous battles, our country's food and grass may not be enough to support the two countries lead a Euro trademark start the war at the same time. After Sun Yu finished speaking, Lu Feng's Euro trademark's original enthusiasm was completely wiped out by Guojia and Sun Yu. But what they said was indeed true, and Lu Feng had no way to refute it. So the Dragon Kingdom had no choice but to make a temporary truce. In order to accumulate enough military rations for another expedition as quickly as possible, the planting of super seeds is no longer limited to the Goguryeo food base. Lu Feng has ordered the planting of super seeds in a large area in the Dragon Kingdom. At the same time, Wei and Shu also used this truce period to stabilize the domestic situation and cultivate military settlements in preparation for the war in the near future. At this point, with the formation of the situation of the three kingdoms, the world once again entered a short and rare truce period. However, whether it is the Dragon Emperor Lu Feng, the Shu Emperor Liu Bei and the Wei Emperor Cao, or the civil servants and generals from various countries, everyone knows that once the fighting starts again in the near future, it will be a very tragic war. Its scale and outcome may even become the largest battle in the 400 years since the founding of the Han Dynasty, and the outcome of the battle is likely to directly affect the future trend. If the Dragon Kingdom wins, Lu Feng will no longer be able to stop him and will soon be able to dominate the world. If the Dragon Kingdom is defeated, the situation of the three kingdoms will continue. At this time, Lu Feng even remembered the Battle of Chibi in his previous life, when Cao in the north had an absolute advantage and attacked the Sun Lu alliance with a so-called 800,000 strong army. At the time war, if Cao wins, no one in the world will be able to stop him. Some even speculate that Cao will be able to dominate the world within 5 years. But in the end, Cao was defeated by the coalition forces of Sun and Lu. The fire in Chibi burned most of Cao's troops to death, making him unable to go south again in his life. Lu Feng, who is well aware of the lessons of history, will naturally not repeat Cao's mistakes. Even if he has the advantage, he does not have the slightest sense of pride. As time passed, a year passed in the blink of an eye, and the Dragon Kingdom had harvested enough military supplies. Lu Feng finally launched a four-pronged army of 400,000 to launch a full-scale attack on Shu and Wei. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 304. The Dragon Kingdom currently has a lot of talents. Compared with Shu and Wei, it can be said that it has military commanders like clouds and counselors like rain, so it has the strength to launch 4 armies to attack Wei and Shu at the same time. Lu Feng appointed Ma Teng as the commander-in-chief of the West Route Army, with Pang De as the Tiger General, leading the vanguard army, and Chen Gong as the accompanying military advisor. He led the 100,000 Ziliang army from Liangzhou to attack Yizhu, Liu Bei's home base in the Shu Kingdom. At the same time, Dian Wei was appointed as the commander-in-chief of the Middle Army. With his own 3,000 dragon warriors and 100,000 troops, with Zhou Yu as the military advisor, he set out from Hungnong County in Sizhou to attack Jingzhou, the border between Shu and Wei. In addition, Lu Feng appointed Ma Chao as the commander-in-chief of the East Route Army, and led his headquarters 3,000 Dragon City cavalry and 100,000 Dragon Kingdom troops to attack the remaining counties in Sizhou with Su Shu as the military advisor. In addition, Lu Feng appointed Zhang Liao as the commander-in-chief of the North Route Army. He led the 5 tiger generals of the Dragon Kingdom, including Taishi Ci, Su Huang, Gao Shun, and Zhang He, with Tian Feng and Zheshu as military advisors, and 100,000 Dragon Kingdom troops. They set out from Yanzhou to attack Yuzhou. In this way, the 4 armies launched fierce attacks on Shu and Wei at the same time. However, facing the sudden attack of Dragon State, both Shu and Wei seemed to be in a hurry. After all, the Dragon Kingdom had gone through nearly a year of silence since it unified the north, and no one expected that the Dragon Emperor would suddenly launch such a violent offensive. Moreover, the Dragon Kingdom's war strategy this time was different from the previous battles against the Feng Kingdom, the Wolf Kingdom, and even the battles that drove Cao from Qingzhou to Yangzhou before Lu Feng became emperor. In the past few battles, Dragon Kingdom only targeted one country, launching one-on-one battles, and even tried every means to find allies for itself, 2 against 1 or 1 against 1. For example, when the Feng Kingdom was eliminated, the Liang Kingdom was found as an ally in the end. In addition to the Liang Kingdom, there were also the Wolf Kingdom and the Wu Kingdom. A total of 4 countries besieged the Feng Kingdom, leading to the destruction of the Feng Kingdom. The subsequent battle with the Wolf Kingdom also had the Liang Kingdom as an ally. Fang Liang Kingdom first secretly formed an alliance with the Wolf Kingdom, and then turned against them. In the end, they captured the Wolf Emperor Lu Buletin and destroyed the Wolf Kingdom in a 2-on-1 manner. Regarding the previous battles, both Shu Emperor Liu Bei and Wei Emperor Cao believed that Dragon Emperor Lu Feng's battle strategy was to focus on stability, and even when he had an advantage, he had to use the safest method to resolve the battle. Therefore, they always thought that according to the cautious temperament of the Dragon Emperor, even if the Dragon Kingdom took the lead in launching a war, it would only concentrate its forces to attack one of Wei or Shu, and wait until one was eliminated before concentrating its forces to eliminate the next one. Therefore, they had already secretly prepared a countermeasure, that is, no matter which country the Dragon Kingdom attacked first, the other country would adopt the method of surrounding Wei and rescuing Zhao. Taking advantage of the fact that the Dragon Kingdom's army was outside and their forces were dispersed, they sent out troops to surprise the Dragon Kingdom's capital, Luoyang. Both Shu and Wei occupied Yizhou and Jingzhou. The army that attacked Luoyang could start from these two places and reach Yin, Henan within 2 days. However, what neither Liu Bei nor Cao expected was that Lu Feng did not concentrate his forces to attack one country, but divided his forces into 4 groups to attack Shu and Wei at the same time. This was very different from their previous preparations, and all the combat arrangements made by the two countries in advance were in vain. Only then did Cao realize that Dragon Emperor Lu Feng was not a person who wanted stability in everything and did not dare to take risks. When he was still serving in Liaodong, every battle against foreigners was won with less. Especially when he once led only 3,000 Dragon City cavalry and dared to go deep into the territory of Goguryeo alone, killed the king of Goguryeo and then walked away. How many people in the world can compare with such courage? Later, Lu Feng only led 10,000 Longcheng soldiers to fight against Goguryeo again. On the land of Goguryeo, he used 10,000 troops to annihilate hundreds of thousands of Goguryeu's armored men, and captured tens of thousands of people, destroying the entire Goguryeo country. Just looking at Lu Feng's 2 battles, who can say that he is a conservative person who puts stability first? He was originally a person who dared to take risks and be enterprising, so he went to war with Shu and Wei at the same time. Perhaps Lu Feng restrained his sharpness and domineering power for too long, so that others forgot that he was a fierce tiger, not a docile kitten. Thinking of this, Cao regretted it. If he had thought of this earlier, how could he be as helpless as he was by the Dragon Kingdom's army? However, even now that he thought of this, it was difficult to quickly reverse the disadvantage. The 4 armies of the Dragon Kingdom are unstoppable, because each army has at least one first-class military commander, and each army has a famous top strategist in the world as a strategist. Therefore, under the leadership of these advisors and generals, the 4 armies of the Dragon Kingdom advanced together and were invincible, killing the Shu and Wei alliance on the battlefield. Since Lu Feng was waging war against Shu and Wei at the same time, their alliance had little way to take advantage. The army led by Ma Teng on the west road set out from Liangzhou and quickly reached Hanzhong County. As an important town in Yizhou, Hanzhong occupies a very important position in Yizhou. And coincidentally, General Pang De, the vanguard of Ma Teng's army, was also very familiar with Hanzhong. When Lu Yan was still ruling Yizhou, Ma Teng sent Pang De as his commander to attack Hanzhong, and soon captured Hanzhong from Zhonglu. However, Jiesu later joined Liu Bei, and relied on Jiesu's plan. Liu Bei regained Hanzhong. Now Liu Bei still appoints Zhonglu as the prefect of Hanzhong. Facing Ma Teng's army, Zhonglu sent his younger brother Zhang Wei to resist at Yangping Pass. Although Zhang Wei was not very skilled in martial arts, he still had some courage. He built a city wall for more than 10 miles at Yangping Pass, and actually blocked the attack of Pang De's vanguard army. Then Chen Gong came up with a plan and asked Ma Teng to pretend that he could not break Yangping Pass and lead his troops to retreat. At the same time, he asked Pang De to lead the Liangzhou cavalry to the rear. As expected, Zhang Wei was fooled and thought Ma Teng was really withdrawing his troops, so he relaxed his defense. As a result, Pang De came back with the Ziliang cavalry that night. The unprepared Jiang Wei was easily defeated by Pang De and was killed by Pang De within 3 rounds. As soon as Jiang Wei died, Zhang Lu had no more available men. Ma Teng's army marched to Nansheng, the seat of Hanzhong, and it took 1 day to break through the city and capture Zhanglu. Hanzhong fell. The 5 tigers in the north also won consecutive battles. Zhang Liao's troops were divided into 3 groups. One group was led by Zhang He and Su Huang to attack the state of Liang. The other group was led by Zhang He and Su Huang together with Zhesha to attack the state of Pei. The other group was led by Tianfeng as military advisor, and Taishi Ci and Gao Shun led the army to attack the state of Chen. In just 3 days, Chenguo, Peiguo, and Lianguo were defeated one after another. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 305. In addition to Ma Teng's army in the west and the 5 tigers in the north, the 2 armies in the middle and east also performed well. Although Dian Wei is the only general in the middle army, and although he is invincible in the Dragon Kingdom formation, except for Lu Feng and Lu Buletin, no one in the Dragon Kingdom can defeat him in a single duel. Even Zhao Yun, who is the pinnacle of super generals, dare not say that he will definitely defeat Dian Wei. Although Ma Chao has reached the ranks of super generals, he is still young after all and is still in his early stages, so he cannot defeat Dian Wei. However, although Dian Wei ranks among the top 4 in the Dragon Kingdom in terms of military force, he has an upright and honest personality and has no advantage in leading troops in combat or strategy. Therefore, Lu Feng took this into consideration when he appointed the super counselor Zhou Yu as the military advisor of the middle army to help Dian Wei make plans. After all, Zhou Yu is not only a super strategist, but also a handsome and intelligent general who ranks among the 3 kingdoms period and even in the entire Chinese history. It is Wen Neng who can make plans to bring peace to the world, and Wu Neng who can take charge of the matter. Therefore, even though Lu Feng appointed Dian Wei as the commander of the Central Army, it was Zhou Yu who actually commanded the battle and arranged the troops, and Dian Wei was more like a general in the formation. However, super generals paired with super counselors can definitely unleash their huge potential. Therefore, the army in the middle route fought consecutive battles in Jingzhou, and showed no weakness in the face of the coalition forces of Wei and Shu, fighting all the way to the outside of Nanyang County. The guard general of Nanyang County was Xia Haoiwen, the general of Wei State. Xia Haoiwen is not only a relative of Cao, but he is ranked high in the Wei army. He is definitely very powerful, especially in leading troops to fight. There are few people in Wei who are stronger than him. In particular, Xia Haoiwen was good at running thousands of miles in battle, and often caught the enemy unawares. Among Cao's troops, he was known as Xia Haoiwen, the commander of the Dian army, who can carry 500 in 3 days and 1,000 in 6 days. Originally, Dian Wei fought against Xia Haoiwen. Although his force was far superior to that of his opponent, he could not defeat him in terms of military use. However, with Zhou Yu's assistance, Xia Haoiwen was no match for the Dragon Kingdom's army, whether it was personal force or military force, and had to lose consecutive battles. In the end, they lost Nanyang County and Nanjun within 7 days. As for the Longguo East Army, under the leadership of Ma Chao and Su Shu, it was equally difficult to find an opponent in Suzhou. With the continuous victory of the war, the morale of the Dragon Kingdom's army was as high as a rainbow, especially Su Shu, who was holding his breath and wanted to burst out to destroy the Wei Kingdom's army. When he just came out of the mountains, he met Liu Bei and was appreciated by Liu Bei. He regarded Liu Bei as his wise master and made suggestions for him, and for a time he blocked Cao's army from advancing beyond Xiapai. Just when Su Shu was about to show off his talents under Liu Bei, Cao used a trick to trick Su's mother into going to Qingzhou, and found someone to imitate Su's mother's handwriting and write a letter to him, thus tricking her into joining his army. It's a pity that Su Shu had just come out of the mountain and met the Ming Lord for the first time, so he had to switch to the enemy camp. Although Su Shu pretended to be crazy and stupid when he arrived at Cao Ying, and did not offer any advice to Cao, and was placed under house arrest in Qingzhou. He did not betray Liu Bei, but in Su Shu's heart, he already had a moral stain. Fortunately, Lu Feng later captured Qingzhou and rescued him from Cao. However, Su Shu still wanted to destroy Cao to avenge his past. Therefore, when attacking Suzhu, Su Shu almost exhausted all the formations and strategies he had learned in his life. Even though Suzhu guard Chengyu was not an ordinary person, he was also a resourceful man with extremely high strategies, and he could not guess every step of Su Shu's plan. In the end, under Su Shu's crazy planning and in conjunction with Ma Chao's invincible Dragon City cavalry, the East Route army captured Peng Cheng and Xiaopai in Suzhu in just a few days. So far, in just 7 days since the Dragon Kingdom launched a four-pronged army to attack Shu and Wei, all four armies have made gains, and a total of 8 counties have been captured. It can be said that they are invincible. At this time, Ma Teng's army on the West Route, which was the first to conquer Hanzhong County, continued to attack southward and had already reached beyond Beijing. The Beijing garrison was Wei Yan, the top-ranking General Liu Bei met when he came to Yizhu from Suzhu. The Beijing garrison he commanded was also an elite force of the Shu kingdom. Therefore, facing Beijing guarded by Wei Yan, Ma Teng's army's offensive finally stopped temporarily. Yizhu is located in Sichuan, and Beijing is the representative of the mountainous counties in Sichuan. The so-called difficult road to Shu refers to counties like Beijing built on the mountains. Taking advantage of the dangers of the mountain road, this place is easy to defend but difficult to attack. It is quite possible that one man can guard the pass and 10,000 men cannot break it. Moreover, the guard Wei Yan was not only highly skilled in martial arts, but also studied military literature since he was a child, and was also quite accomplished in leading troops in battles. Because of this, he was sent to Ba County by Liu Bei to guard this important place in Shu. Although Wei Yan knew that as long as he stayed in the county and defended calmly, and the supplies in the county were sufficient, the enemy would naturally retreat if they could not attack for a long time and ran out of food and grass. However, Wei Yan was not very old at this time, and he was young and energetic and could not hold his breath. He was not willing to defend the county and be beaten passively, thinking that with his own bravery, he would be able to kill the general and seize the flag. It is obviously more tempting to use offense to take the initiative to eliminate the enemy, and to rely on defense to wear down the enemy's energy bit by bit until the enemy retreats. Therefore, as soon as Pangda's vanguard army arrived in Beijing, Wei Yan ordered 50,000 troops and horses to go out of the city to fight. Originally, Pangda led the Ziliang cavalry all the way to Beijing. He felt that the terrain of Beijing was rugged, and he was still worried about how to capture this place. Unexpectedly, Wei Yan took the initiative to attack, which made Pangda immediately overjoyed. So without saying a word, he stepped forward and called the formation and said, "I am Pound, the vanguard of Mu Mateng in Liangzhou of the Dragon Kingdom. Who in the Shu army dares to fight with me?" Wei Yan had long heard of Pound's reputation in Liangzhou. Immediately he jumped out of the horse and shouted, "How dare little Pangda be so rampant? I, Wei Yan, will kill you first and then cut off Ma Teng's head." After the two people finished speaking, they rode towards each other. Pangda and Wei Yanzi both had long swords. In the first round of their fight, their swords collided with each other. There was only a click sound, and the two men's crotches, the war horses, couldn't bear the force and took 2 steps back. At the same time, the arms of the two men holding the swords were numb. In terms of strength, the two of them were evenly matched. So the two sides competed with each other in sword skills. Time was running out. At this moment, Ma Teng and Chen Gong led the main army on the west route to arrive. Chen Gong looked at the handsome flag embroidered with the word Wei in the formation of Shu County leaving the city, and knew that the person was Wei Yan, the guard of Ba County. So Chen Gong took advantage of his plan and asked Ma Teng to withdraw his troops. Ma Teng knew that Chen Gong must have a plan, so he did it. When Pang De saw Ma Teng's request for gold, he left Wei Yan and retreated. When Wei Yan saw when Ma Teng's main force arrived, knowing that he could not fight hard, he prepared to withdraw to the city. As soon as the city gate opened, Chen Gong immediately beat drums and marched. Pang De also reacted instantly and rushed towards the city gate with Ziliang cavalry. It was too late to close the city gate, and they had to watch Ma Teng's army rush into Beijing. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 306. Wei Yan watched Ma Teng's Ziliang army rush into Beijing. He knew that with the enemy's superior strength, he was helpless at this time. At this time, he felt very regretful. If he hadn't shown off his courage and stayed in the city honestly, let alone Ma Teng, he wouldn't have broken through the city so quickly. Even if he was given another month, he wouldn't have even thought of entering Baja. The county has one soldier and one soldier. However, there is no regret medicine in this world. Now that Beijing has been defeated and the morale of the Shu army is low, he may not be able to leave if he stays here any longer. So Wei Yan had to organize his troops to retreat. However, Chen Gong had already seen the battle between Wei Yan and Pound just now. He knew that with Pound's force, Wei Yan could not be defeated for so long, which meant that he must also be a top-notch military general. If such a person is let go easily and meets him again next time, he will definitely not be defeated so easily after suffering a big loss, and it will be difficult to keep him by then. Therefore, Chen Gong issued an order and ordered Pang De to lead the Ziliang cavalry to surround Wei Yan in order to capture him alive. Pang De had just fought with Wei Yan, and the two were in the middle of the fight. As a result, Chen Gong suddenly asked for money and retreated his troops, which made Pang De very depressed. Upon hearing Chen Gong's order at this time, he immediately excitedly ordered his troops and horses and rushed towards Wei Yan's breakout direction. Wei Yan's mental state at this time was completely different from the one he had just faced Pound in a duel. In the one-on-one challenge just now, Wei Yan was confident and arrogant. He believed that his martial arts skills were superior to Pang De's. He wanted to suppress Pang De with his sword skills and defeat him. Even if he lost to Pang De, he could return to the city to defend. However, it can be said that life is at stake at this time. Beijing has been lost. If he is defeated, he will be captured or killed. This is not what he wants to see. So as soon as Pang De came up, he used his most ruthless and fierce sword skills, preparing to fight Pang De in a last-ditch battle and break out. So the two of them waved their long swords, and you came and I went back and forth, still evenly matched. However, Wei Yan and Pang De were inseparable, and the Shu soldiers were much inferior to the Liangzhou cavalry. Just as the two were fighting, the Shu army had suffered heavy casualties under the encirclement and suppression of the Ziliang cavalry. While Wei Yan was dueling with Pang De, he was also always paying attention to the situation of his soldiers. At this time, seeing the heavy losses of his soldiers, he knew that if he did not break out, not only the soldiers would be lost, but he himself would also be unable to escape. So in an instant, Wei Yan exploded with even more powerful fighting power, exerting his martial arts to the extreme. He had never felt that the long sword in his hand could be so sharp. With the momentum of fighting to the death, Wei Yan finally saw the opportunity, swung away Pang De's attack with his sword, turned around and charged towards the Liangzhou army behind him. The red-eyed Wei Yan was like a god of murder. Besides Pang De, who else in the Liangzhou army could be his enemy? So after getting rid of Pang De, Wei Yan finally succeeded in breaking through. But Wei Yan fled, and the tens of thousands of Shu defenders left in Beijing were almost completely lost. It didn't take long for the entire 14 counties of Bajan to fall into Ma Teng's hands. At the same time, Dian Wei, commander of the Central Army, was leading his army to attack Jiangxia County. After losing Nanyang County and Nan County in succession, Xia Haoiwen felt very depressed, but he knew that he was far from being a match for his opponent Zhou Yu in terms of strategy. Therefore, after retreating to Jiangxia County, Xia Haoiwen applied to Wei Emperor Cao to transfer Sun Yu to Jiangxia as an accompanying military advisor to assist Xia Haoiwen in guarding Jiangxia County to resist the armies of Dian Wei and Zhou Yu. In fact, Zhou Yu and Su Shu are the same. For them, attacking Cao Wei is a kind of revenge. Su Shu wanted to avenge his personal hatred for being forced to leave Liu Bei and being forced into Cao Ying by Cao, while Zhou Yu wanted to avenge Sun Ce's death. Although Sun Ce eventually died at the hands of Shu, Guan Yu's sword, and Jia Su's calculations, the cause was inseparable from Wei. It was Cao who knew that although the direct murderer of Sun Jian's death was Liu Biao, the cause was his alliance with Liu Biao to attack Sun Jian in order to capture Yangzhou. Now that Liu Biao is dead, after Sun Ce recovers, the next target of revenge is Wei. Although Wei State is not afraid of Wu State with its strength, Cao has set his goal to surpass the Dragon State and become the most powerful country in the world. In this case, if Wu State takes the initiative to start a war, it will inevitably be a one-on-one battle between Wu State and Wei State. Although the strength of the Wei State is stronger than that of the Wu State, as the Dragon State and the Wei State, is on par with the Shu State and is only slightly weaker than the third group of the Wei State. If the Wei State wants to defeat the Wu State, it must pay a certain amount of effort. Cost. This is obviously not conducive to the development of Wei. After such a battle, even if Wu is destroyed, Wei will definitely win miserably. The domestic economy and army will be hit, and its development may even be surpassed by Shu. Therefore, Cao acted first and united with Shu to kill Wu first. Therefore, for Zhou Yu, attacking Wei was also an act of revenge for Sun Ce. So like Su Shu, he was holding his breath and wanted to do something. When capturing Nanyang County and Nanjun, Zhou Yu only used some small tricks to easily deceive Xia Haoiwen several times, and cooperated with the unstoppable Longwu soldiers to defeat Nanyang and Nanjun. But at this time, when attacking Jiangxia, with Sun Yu guarding him, Zhou Yu needed to plan more carefully if he wanted to win. Zhou Yu is a super strategist, and although Sun Yu has not reached the level of a super strategist, he is still at the pinnacle of a first-class strategist. It will not be easy for Zhou Yu to defeat him. The two of them continued to show off their tactics and launched a strategic competition, and Jiangxia County's offense and defense also fell into a stalemate. After besieging Pingchun City in Jiangxia for many days to no avail, Zhou Yu finally resorted to a plan to reduce the number of enemies. When he ordered the soldiers of the Dragon Kingdom to cook, they dug enough pits for 100,000 people on the first day, only 80,000 pits on the second day, and reduced to 50,000 pits on the third day. Jiangxia's scouts reported the incident to Xia Haoiwen. Xia Haoiwen was overjoyed and said to Su Yugongda, "It seems that Dian Wei's army has been fighting for days and their food supply is insufficient. Now is the time to send troops to attack them." However, Sun Yu said. But he thought that this must be Zhou Yu's plan to reduce the number of people, and he should not be credulous and should observe it for a while. So Xia Haoiwen had no choice but to wait patiently. As a result, on the night of the third day, the Dragon Kingdom army quietly left Pingchun City. At this time, Xia Haoiwen thought that the Dragon Kingdom must be short of food and grass and had withdrawn its troops, so he personally led an army of 50,000 to chase him out of the city. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 307. Although Sun Yu concluded that Zhou Yu had used a plan to reduce the number of stoves in the Dragon Kingdom's army 2 days ago, Xia Haoiwen did not believe it. He believed that it was normal for the Long Kingdom to have problems with the supply of food and grass during the expedition. The reason why there were fewer stove pits day by day was because they had insufficient food and grass, and it was not a plan to reduce stoves at all. However, Sun Yu tried his best to dissuade Xia Haoiwen on the grounds that the two armies were fighting and the soldiers and horses had not moved the food and grass first, and said that if there was really a shortage of food and grass, Zhou Yu would definitely hide this obvious weakness and not let the enemy know. However, now that the scouts had found out so easily that there were fewer stove pits, it was most likely that Zhou Yu deliberately let the scouts see this, and his purpose was to trick Xia Yuan into leaving the city to fight with the Dragon Kingdom army. After Sun Yu's death remonstrance, Xia Haoiwen thought about it carefully and finally thought that what Sun Yu said made sense, so he decided to stay in Pingchun City and wait and see for a while. And Zhou Yu also knew that although he could deceive Xia Haoiwen with this plan, it was impossible to deceive Sun Yu. Therefore, in order to make Xia Haoiwen more convinced that he was indeed short of food and grass, Zhou Yu ordered the army to retreat quietly on the third night. Zhou Yu knew that although Xia Haoiwen was persuaded by Sun Yu and did not go out of the city to fight for the time being, as long as he retreated, his impatient character would make him even more convinced that he was indeed out of food and grass and would definitely go out of the city to pursue him. Even if Sun Yu tried to persuade him, he would not listen. The commander of the Wei army in Jiangxia is Xia Haoiwen. As long as he is fooled and gets rid of him, Jiangxia will not be defeated even if Sun Yu is still there. Therefore, even if he really retreated, Zhou Yu kept the army on alert at all times and explained to all the soldiers that Xia Haoiwen might lead his troops to pursue him at any time. Therefore, the soldiers of the Dragon Kingdom were very energetic and retreated in an orderly manner without any disorder. When the Dragon Kingdom's army retreated to the vicinity of Xiling City, Xia Haoiwen's 50,000 strong army finally caught up with the Dragon Kingdom's troops and launched a direct attack. In Xia Haoiwen's imagination, since the Dragon Kingdom army had been short of food and grass for 3 consecutive days and the soldiers were eating less and less every day, they must all be hungry and their morale was low. So even if he only brings 50,000 cavalry, and the Dragon Kingdom has a full 100,000 army, as long as his army rushes back and forth a few times, the Dragon Kingdom's 100,000 army will definitely be defeated. However, what he didn't expect was that the morale of the Dragon Kingdom soldiers seemed not to be affected by the lack of food at all, and they still maintained a strong fighting capacity. In particular, those placed at the rear of the Dragon Kingdom army by Zhou Yu were the 3,000 dragon warriors under Dian Wei. As a heavy infantry unit, the dragon warriors could be called the nemesis of the cavalry. Even before Xia Yuan's cavalry showed up, the scouts sent by Zhou Yu had already given an early warning. Therefore, Dian Wei had already ordered the Longwu soldiers to be ready. The soldiers in the front row thrust their shields, which were almost as high as a person, diagonally into the ground and leaned on them with their bodies. The soldiers in the second row stretched out the spears and halberds diagonally from the gaps between the shields, and the tail ends were also poked into the ground. The soldiers in the third row took out their crossbows from between the soldiers in the first 2 rows, and were ready to start shooting as soon as the enemy troops arrived. Long Wuzu was so carefully prepared that when Xia Haoiwen's pursuers appeared, they were greeted by powerful crossbow arrows. The crossbow arrows fired by Long Wuzu Pingping are so powerful that they can penetrate the bodies of more than 3 people. They will not stop until they hit the 4th person. After a round of shooting, more than 3,000 Jiangxia cavalry fell to the ground. Immediately afterwards, the surviving cavalry finally rushed to the defense line of the dragon warriors. They raised their weapons and wanted to kill the dragon warrior soldiers, but they were surprised to find that their weapons could not penetrate the first row of dragon warriors at all. Shield. Then, the war horse couldn't stop and collided with the dragon warrior's shield. If it were an ordinary infantryman, it would be impossible to resist the high-speed attacking war horse and would have been knocked away long ago. However, the shields of the dragon warriors and their armor weighed hundreds of kilograms, and even with the strength of the war horses, it was difficult to break them open. But this was not the end. The spears and halberds between the shields became sharp weapons for harvesting the lives of Jiangxia cavalry. In this way, Longwu's soldiers blocked Xia Haowen's pursuers, and then Dian Wei led the Dragon Kingdom's army to fight out. At this time, Xia Haowen finally knew that Sun Yu's guess was completely correct. The Dragon Kingdom army was not short of food and grass at all. All this was Zhou Yu's plan. But it was obviously too late to react now. He had to break out with the remaining army and hid in Xiling city nearby. Xia Haowen only brought 50,000 cavalry with him to pursue Zhou Yu and Dian Wei's army. After being ambushed by Longwu soldiers and the Long Kingdom army, he lost nearly half of them, leaving only more than 20,000 cavalry. Dian Wei wanted to lead his army to attack the city and capture Xia Haowen, but Zhou Yu stopped him. Facing Dian Wei's confused look, Zhou Yu said Xia Haowen only has more than 20,000 people left. It is not difficult to catch him, but he has a high status among Cao's army. We can use him to encircle and mobilize reinforcements as much as possible, destroy more Wei troops. After hearing Zhou Yu's plan, Dian Wei said in a vague way, Lao Dian, didn't understand what military advisor Zhou said about encircling the point for reinforcements, but I will just do it as you tell me. After hearing this, Zhou Yu smiled slightly, and then ordered the army to surround Xiling city, but he only besieged but not attacked, attracting more Wei troops to come to rescue. In the hills and woods outside Xiling city, Zhou Yu set up numerous ambushes, especially Longwu soldiers and all the archers in the army. As long as the Wei state sends troops to rescue Xia Yuan, they will be greeted by a barrage of arrows. Early the next morning, Sun Yu received news from the scouts in Pingchun city and learned that Xia Haowen had indeed been ambushed and was now besieged in Xiling city. So Sun Yu quickly organized a force of 20,000 people and went to Xiling city to support Xia Yuan, hoping to attack Xia Yuan's troops from both sides and capture him. As a result, scouts came to report in the evening, saying that the reinforcements were ambushed by the Dragon Kingdom army outside Xiling city, and the entire army was wiped out. Xia Yuan was still besieged in the city, and the Dragon Kingdom army seemed to have no plans to attack the city for the time being. Sun Yu knew that this was Zhou Yu's plan to encircle and mobilize reinforcements, but Xia Haowen held a high position in the Wei state, so he had to save him, so he sent out all the 50,000 troops in Pingchun city. As a result, these 50,000 troops were besieged and killed by Longwu soldiers and other Dragon Kingdom troops who were ambushing outside Xiling city, and fled. Xia Haowen watched the reinforcements being massacred twice in the city, and knew that he could not continue like this, so he personally led Wei's elite cavalry to break out of the encirclement. However, his actions had been planned by Zhou Yu, and when he broke through, he was intercepted and killed by Longwu soldiers led by Dian Wei. This time, in order to prevent Xia Haowen from escaping, Dian Wei personally fought against him. However, Xia Haowen, who was only a first-rate general, was the opponent of the super general Dian Wei. The two fought for 50 rounds, and Dian Wei split Xia Haowen's man and horse in half with a halberd. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 308. Dian Wei and Zhou Yu, who were in the middle army, advanced all the way and killed Cao's confidant General Xia Haowen outside Xiling city. Although Xia Yuan's military strength is not as good as that of Su Chu and his brother Xia Dun, and he can only rank 3rd in Wei state, his ability to lead troops in battle is much stronger than that of Su Chu, and even slightly better than Xia Dun. Therefore, Xia Yuan had a very high status in the hearts of Wei soldiers. With Xia Yuan's death in battle, the morale of the Jingzhou defenders was in chaos. Moreover, there was no general who could lead the soldiers to charge into battle. Even if Sun Yu had all kinds of strategies, it would be difficult for a clever woman to make a meal without rice. The Wei army had to retreat steadily in Jingzhou. But as the saying goes, the house leaked and it rained continuously. The Wei army's battle in Jingzhou was not going well, and they also lost more than they won in Suzhou. The Eastern Army of the Dragon Kingdom attacking Suzhou was composed of the super military general Ma Chao as the commander, the super counselor Su Shu as the military advisor, with 3,000 Dragon City cavalry and 100,000 Dragon Kingdom troops. The person who guarded Suzhou for the Wei state was Cao's top counselor Chen Yu. Although Chen Yu was at the top of the top counselors list, he was not a super counselor after all, and there was still a certain gap between him and Su Shu. Moreover, Su Shu's hatred towards Wei was mostly focused on Chen Yu. After all, the reason why Cao brought Su Shu's mother to Qingzhou was Chen Yu's idea, and it was also Chen Yu who pretended to be Su's mother's handwriting to trick Su Shu into Cao Ying, so Su Shu's hatred for Chen Yu is definitely far greater than anyone else's. For this reason, when Su Shu learned that the defender of Suzhou was Chen Yu, he tried his best to destroy the defenders of Suzhou, seize Suzhou, and kill Chen Yu. After Chen Yu was defeated one after another and many places in Suzhou fell, Cao also realized the crisis in Suzhou. Cao believed that with Chen Yu's ability, he should be able to withstand the armies of Ma Chao and Su Shu. The main reason why he has suffered more defeats so far is that Chen Yu has no available men. He is a first-level civil servant. Even if he has a clever plan, he will never be able to defeat a super general like Ma Chao without a general who can lead troops in battle. Moreover, Ma Chao had elite heavy cavalry like the Dragon City cavalry under him. Cao also knew that it was difficult for ordinary troops to withstand the impact of the Dragon City cavalry. So Cao sent his younger brother Cao Chun to Guangling County in Suzhou to work with Chen Yu to resist Ma Chao and Su Shu. Going to Guangling County with Cao Chun was the Tiger and Leopard Cavalry, Wei's No. 1 Special Forces Unit. The commander of the Tiger and Leopard Cavalry, Cao Chun, is Cao's clan brother and Cao Ren's younger brother. He is good at running the army and is very talented in selecting and training soldiers. The Tiger and Leopard Cavalry was trained by Cao Chun. As Cao's ace unit, the Tigers and Leopards' combat effectiveness far exceeds that of ordinary soldiers. Even any ordinary soldier of the Tigers and Leopards can serve as a mid-level general in other armies. The weapons of the Tiger and Leopard Cavalry are based on the 5 Bapi knives that Cao personally built back then, and are steel knives that have been repeatedly tempered hundreds of times. The blades of the 5 Bapi knives forged by Cao were made through repeated tempering. They were made of hundreds of refined steel. In the Eastern Han Dynasty, when almost all weapons and armor were made of iron, these 5 steel knives were absolutely as good as clay. Ordinary swords and armor will definitely break with a single cut. Although its quality is not as good as the 5 unique magic weapons made by Cao himself, which have dragon, tiger, bear, bird, and sparrow as their recognitions and are used to ward off ominous things, the name of being able to ward off 100 knives is enough to show that the Tiger and Leopard Cavalry, the weapons are absolutely extraordinary. The Tiger and Leopard Cavalry not only have sophisticated weapons, but its soldiers themselves are also rare elite soldiers. As the most elite force in Cao's hands, he is called Tiger and Leopard Cavalry because he has extremely strong combat effectiveness and is as brave as a tiger and leopard in battle. Cao Chun, the commander of the Tiger and Leopard Cavalry, was very strict in the selection and training of his soldiers. According to the Book of Wei, the Tiger and Leopard Cavalry under the supervision of Chun are all the best in the world, and they may be replaced by hundreds of people. It can be seen from this that the soldiers of the Tiger and Leopard Cavalry are truly the best of the best. It is precisely because the Tiger and Leopard Cavalry are so elite that Cao can confidently send Cao Chun to Suzhou, hoping to use the powerful combat power of Cao Chun and the Tiger and Leopard Cavalry to resist or even defeat the armies of Ma Chao and Su Shu. After Ma Chao's army captured Xiapai, they took a short rest and then marched all the way to the outside of Guangling County. The Tiger and Leopard Cavalry has been established for a long time. When Cao first occupied Yangzhou, he sent Cao Chun as commander to lead the Tiger and Leopard cavalry to pacify the Shanyu alien tribe in Yangzhou. At that time, the Tiger and Leopard cavalry faced the foreign tribes, and their powerful combat effectiveness was no weaker than that of Lu Feng's Dragon City cavalry. They drove all the Shanyu alien tribes out of Yangzhou almost effortlessly. But even though the Tiger and Leopard riders became famous in Yangzhou, they had not yet fought against the princes of the Central Plains, so their reputation was not obvious. Therefore, Cao Chun also hoped to take this opportunity to step on the corpse of the Dragon City cavalry to make the Tiger and Leopard cavalry famous. So when Ma Chao's army arrived outside Guangling County, Cao Chun had already brought 3,000 Tiger and Leopard cavalry and 100,000 Suzhu guards. The army was waiting in formation outside Guangling City. If it were normal times and there were elite troops like the Tiger and Leopard cavalry, Chen Yu would definitely advise Cao Chun to attack slowly and rely on Guangling City to defend and wait for the attack. However, in the previous battles, especially with the successive falls of Pengcheng Kingdom and Xiaopai Kingdom, Chen Yu had been defeated by Su Shu's superb strategy. He originally thought that with his own strategy, he would not be able to surpass himself in strategy at Su Shu's age. But I didn't expect that after several battles, Su Shu would guess all his plans in advance and prepare countermeasures. However, few of Su Shu's strategies could be guessed by him. Therefore, Chen Yu was so confused that he didn't notice anything wrong with Cao Chun's private battle with Ma Chao outside the city. Before Ma Chao's army arrived at Guangling, the scouts had already discovered that Cao Chun had already lined up his Tiger and Leopard cavalry outside the city and was waiting. When Ma Chao's army arrived, Cao Chun came out and shouted, "Cao Chun, the younger brother of Cao, Emperor of Wei, has heard about the name of the Dragon City Iron Cavalry for a long time. Today, my Tiger and Leopard cavalry came here specially to challenge, to take a look at the world's #1 cavalry. Who will get the title of Yi Jinki?" Ma Chao felt funny after listening to Cao Chun's words. He knew that no matter how strong the Tiger and Leopard cavalry was, it would not be able to compare with the Dragon City Iron Cavalry from the transfer hall. When it comes to the best elite knight in the world, it must be the Dragon Emperor's personal guard, the Red Blood Dragon Rider. But he didn't say anything. He just waved his hand and led the Dragon City cavalry to charge. Although the Tiger and Leopard cavalry are powerful, they are only the 6th level peak cavalry after all. They have little power to fight back against the 7th level unit, the Dragon City Iron Cavalry. Therefore, in this battle between Dragon and Tiger, the Tiger and Leopard cavalry were at a disadvantage from the very beginning. Ma Chao also immediately found Cao Chun, the commander of the Tiger and Leopard cavalry. The two sides fought for more than 10 rounds. In the end, Ma Chao was the superior and defeated Cao Chun with one shot. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 309. Originally, Cao Chun knew that Ma Chao was a disciple of Dragon Emperor Lu Feng, and Lu Feng was a peerless general who could defeat even Lu Buletin. Therefore, although Ma Chao is young, less than 15 years old, with the guidance of a famous teacher like Lu Feng, he must be very powerful. And judging from Ma Chao's past record, he has indeed become a super general. But Cao Chun is not famous for his bravery. His strength lies in training and leading troops, and his own military force is only at the level of a third-rate general. Therefore, he was able to train a warrior like the Hebeo cavalry and was able to lead the Hebeo cavalry to drive all the Shanyu aliens out of Yangzhou, but he himself did not have much fame. Precisely because Cao Chun knew the gap between himself and Ma Chao, he did not want to challenge Ma Chao in a duel at first. His original plan was to command the Tiger and Leopard cavalry to fight against the Dragon City cavalry from the rear. After the tiger and leopard cavalry had scattered the Dragon City cavalry, he would then besiege Ma Chao with his remaining power. But what she didn't expect was that the tiger and leopard cavalry, which had been invincible in the past, could not break through the defense line of the Dragon City cavalry. They were even forced back by the Dragon City cavalry, causing many casualties. As Cao Chun's carefully trained tiger and leopard cavalry, he has invested a lot of emotion in this unit. He can even name every tiger and leopard cavalry soldier. And in his mind, the tiger and leopard cavalry should be the invincible cavalry unit in the world. Therefore, when he saw that the tiger and leopard cavalry and the Dragon City cavalry were defeated after just a few rounds of battle, Cao Chun's heart was already in chaos. His heart was bleeding when he saw more and more tiger and leopard knights being killed by the Dragon City cavalry and falling to the ground forever, unable to get up. So much so that later on, Cao Chun had lost his cool and rushed into the battle hoping to reverse the situation on his own. But when he moved, he gave Ma Chao a chance. Although Ma Chao had never met Cao Chun, when he heard Cao Chun say that he was Cao's clan brother, he already wanted to kill him to anger Cao. And with the battle between the tiger and leopard cavalry and the Dragon City cavalry, Ma Chao also saw with his own eyes the power of the tiger and leopard cavalry, and understood why Cao Chun was so confident. The armor on the Dragon City Iron Cavalry has been modified by the Dragon City blacksmiths. Although it is light, it is still 3 layers thick. Ordinary weapons will never be able to easily break through the Dragon City Iron Cavalry's armor. But the Tiger and Leopard Cavalry can do it, and the Tiger and Leopard Cavalry are not only extremely well equipped, but each of their soldiers is indeed an elite warrior. If the Dragon City Iron Cavalry hadn't surpassed the opponent in terms of level, it would have been really difficult to defeat them. And being able to train such an elite force, Cao Chun is indeed a talent. Therefore, if Cao Chun does not die, he will definitely be able to train more warriors like the Tiger and Leopard Cavalry, and it will definitely be more difficult to defeat Wei. Therefore, Ma Chao has already had murderous intentions towards Cao Chun. However, Cao Chun had been hiding behind the Tiger and Leopard Cavalry to direct the battle, leaving Ma Chao no chance to reach him and challenge him in a duel. When Ma Chao was at his wit's end, Cao Chun lost his mind because of the casualties suffered by the Tiger and Leopard Cavalry soldiers and rushed to the front. After Ma Chao saw this, he naturally would not miss this opportunity, so there was a scene where Ma Chao picked Cao Chun with a gun. With Cao Chun's death, the Tiger and Leopard Cavalry instantly lost their fighting spirit and fled in all directions. In the end, the battle between Dragon and Tiger ended with the victory of the Dragon City Cavalry. Most of the Tiger and Leopard Cavalry were killed and wounded, and the commander Cao Chun was killed. With the death of Cao Chun, Chen Yu, the only scribe left, was no longer able to resist the Dragon Kingdom army and had to abandon the city and flee. So Guangling City also fell into the hands of Ma Chao. Ma Chao and Su Shu on the east road and Dian Wei and Zhou Yu on the middle road advanced all the way. The 5 tigers on the Yizhou battlefield on the north road were not to be outdone. After Zhang Liao divided his troops into 3 groups and captured Liang, Chen, and Pei, relying on the advice of Tianfeng and Zheshu, the 5 tigers won consecutive victories and annexed most of the cities in Runan County. Seeing that even Runan County, the largest county in Yizhou, was about to be lost, Cao finally couldn't sit still. He sent 5 of his best generals, Yu Jin, Li Dian, Cao Ren, and Cao Hong, to command an army of 100,000 men. Sima Lang, the eldest son of the Sima family in Hanoi and the head of the Sima Bata, was his military advisor and sent troops to Runan to resist the army of the Dragon Kingdom. At this time, Cao's 5 son generals were far from the famous 5 son generals in history. In history, Cao's 5 best generals were Zhang Liao, Yu Jin, Su Huang, and Zhang He. Now the most powerful Zhang Liao, Su Huang, and Zhang He have all become Lu Feng's generals, and they have all been appointed by Lu Feng as the 5 tiger generals of the Dragon Kingdom. Among the remaining 2 men, Yu Jin and Li Jin, were far inferior to Zhang Liao and others in terms of personal strength and ability to lead troops in battle. As for the 3 men Cao added among the 5 good generals, Li Dian was mediocre in terms of military strength and mediocre in leading troops, and was more like a man who could make up the numbers. Although Cao Hong was brave in battle and very loyal to Cao, he gave up his horse to Cao several times when Cao was in danger, which saved Cao, but he also had no strategy and could not lead an army as a commander like Zhang Liao and the other 2. And Cao Ren can be said to be the only general among the 5 good generals under Cao today who can rival the 5 good generals in history. Not only does his martial arts rank high among the 5 people today, but he is also a handsome man with excellent ability to lead troops in combat. But even so, there is still a certain gap between him and the 3 first-class generals Zhang Liao, Su Huang, and Zhang He. As for Sima Lang, although he was born in the famous Sima family in Hanoi and was young and promising, he was still in his teens after all. Compared with the 2 first-class counselors Tianfeng and Zheshao, he still lacked a lot of experience. Therefore, even if the 2 sides have not officially started war, the outcome is almost certain. Zhang Liao and others also learned through scouts that Cao had sent 5 of his best generals to resist him. In this regard, whether it is Zhang Liao, the commander of the 5 tigers of the Dragon Kingdom, or the rest of Taishi Ci, Su Huang, and others, they are all full of fighting spirit. After all, the number of generals and the size of the troops on both sides are very similar. As a defender, Sima Lang suggested that Cao Ren, the leader of the 5 good generals, send some troops to ambush the opponent's must-pass route to Xinping City. However, his idea had already been seen through by Tianfeng and Zheshu. Along the way, the Long Kingdom army fought steadily and repelled several waves of Wei ambushes. In the end, the 2 sides faced each other in formation outside Xinping City. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 310. Sima Lang came up with various schemes one after another, but Tianfeng and Zheshao saw through them. He finally realized that compared with Tianfeng and Zheshao, he was indeed too young and inexperienced. Therefore, both Cao Ren and Sima Lang themselves gave up using strategies and prepared to rely on their own strength to defeat the Dragon Kingdom army. Compared with Cao Ren, Cao Hong, and others among the 5 good generals of the Wei Kingdom, Yu Jin, Li Jin and Li Dian also fought with Cao for a long time and gained a certain reputation. But among the 5 tigers of the Dragon Kingdom, apart from Taishasai, only Zhang He was somewhat famous as one of the original 4 court pillars of Hebei under Yuan Shao. However, Zhang Liao was not reused by Lu Buletin in the early days. Later, after becoming the general of the Wolf Kingdom, Zhao Yun, who had been defending Yuzhou in Bingzhou, was only known to the world when he was finally transferred to Sizhou to defend against Feng and Liang. Gao Shun, on the other hand, was never reused by Lu Buletin because he was taciturn, and his reputation was even less prominent. Compared with Gao Shun, Su Huang has been working under Yang Feng. After Yang Feng's death, he stayed alone in Luoyang. Neither Yuan Shao nor Lu Buletin used him, so no one knew his abilities. The Dragon Emperor defied all opinions and ranked Su Huang among the 5 tigers. In fact, not only Shu and Wei, but also many generals in the Dragon Kingdom did not understand why the Dragon Emperor placed Su Huang in such high regard with no merit. However, out of unconditional trust in the Dragon Emperor, both Zhang Liao and Taishi Ci expressed sufficient respect and friendship to Su Huang. Even though his comrades were very friendly to him, Su Huang knew that if he could not produce enough results, Lu Feng's trust alone would not be enough to convince the public. So he took this battle against the 5 good generals as an opportunity to prove himself. He had only one goal, which was to kill as many generals as possible among the 5 good generals. At least, Cao Ren, the leader of the 5 good generals, was the one he had to kill. After the two sides lined up, Cao Ren looked at the neat lineup of the Dragon Kingdom army and knew that this battle would be very difficult. Therefore, he decided to have a general battle first and kill the other 5 Tiger Army generals to boost the morale of his army. So Cao Ren asked to the left and right, who among you dares to take the lead in fighting and behead the enemy general for our army? After Cao Ren finished speaking, Li Dian came out of the crowd and said to Cao Ren, General, wait a moment, I'm going to do it right now, go and call the formation. As long as they dare to come, I will definitely let them come and go without any return after. Li Dian finished speaking, he rode out and shouted in front of the two armies formation, I'm Li Dian, one of the 5 good generals of Wei State, Dragon State. Which of the officers and soldiers dares to go out to fight with a certain person? After Li Dian finished speaking, without waiting for Zhang Liao to ask, Gao Shun took the lead and said, Wen Yuan, wait a moment, a certain person will go to meet him. After saying this, Gao Shun also jumped out of the formation and rushed towards Li Dian. He had served under Lu Buledin for many years and was not reused by Lu Buledin, so his reputation was not prominent. He was not even one of the 8 strong men under Lu Buledin's command, so he was holding his breath and trying to earn a reputation at this time. When Li Dian saw a dark man rushing out of the opponent's formation, he asked, if you don't kill an unknown general with a sword, who is coming and you don't tell me your name? Gao Shun shouted, this person is under the command of the Dragon Emperor, one of the 5 Tiger generals, Gao Shun, Li Dian, come and die. After saying this, the two rushed together and started fighting. Although Li Dian looked ferocious, his strength was not very high. He was only at the peak of the third-rate military, and was far from the opponent of the second-rate general Gao Shun. The two fought for less than 20 rounds. Gao Shun feinted with a shot, struck east and west with a move, deceiving Li Dian, and then shot Li Dian off his horse. Seeing Li Dian's death, Li Jin, who was friends with Li Dian, came out with a gun and shouted, Gao Shun, don't leave, let me, Li, come in and practice with you. However, how could the 5 tigers of the Dragon Kingdom allow Li Jin to sneak attack Gao Shun? Zhang He also rushed forward with a gun, took advantage of Li Jin, and said, 1 against 1, I, Zhang He, will accompany you to practice. After saying this, Zhang He quickly took out his gun and shot in an instant. Li Jin was unable to fight back. After 10 rounds, Zhang He saw the opportunity and stabbed Li Jin to death with 1 shot. After defeating 2 generals, Cao Ren was furious and ordered Cao Hong to go to war. On the Dragon Kingdom side, General Taishi Ci was sent. When Taishi Ci saw Cao Hong rushing towards him, he took off the strong bow from his back, stretched his bow and shot 3 arrows in a row. Cao Hong knew that Taishi Ci had excellent archery skills and was on guard, so he quickly swung his sword to fly away the first 2 arrows. However, the 3rd arrow was shot at his horse. Cao Hong had no time to react. The horse fell to the ground in the middle, throwing Cao Hong away. Then Taishi Ci arrived on horseback and stabbed Cao Hong in the throat with a steel gun. When Cao Ren saw that his younger brother Cao Hong was killed by Taishi Ci with 2 moves, he was furious and rushed out. Su Huang saw that Cao Ren finally went to fight, so he rushed forward to intercept Cao Ren. Su Huang used the frost snow rolling cloud axe. Coupled with his strength, there were few enemies in the world. Even if Cao Ren was a famous general in Wei, he would still be difficult to resist. Su Huang struck down with an axe, and Cao Ren blocked it with his sword. He felt as if his arms were bearing a huge force. But Su Huang failed with 1 axe, and struck 3 times in a row. Cao Ren finally couldn't resist, and the long knife in his hand was chopped by Su Huang, and he himself was also chopped in half. Cao Ren's death shocked the Wei army, and only one of the 5 good generals was left, Yu Jin. He knew that both Cao Ren and Cao Hong had been killed, and he would not be able to stop the Dragon Kingdom's attack. And if he escaped by himself, Cao would definitely not let him go, so Yujin gritted his teeth and rushed out. Zhang Liao, the only one among the 5 tigers who did not take action, raised his sword and faced him. Yujin was only a second-rate general, and had long since lost his will to fight. However, Zhang Liao, as a top-level general, was far beyond Yujin's reach. Zhang Liao rushed out on horseback and struck Yujin with his sword. Due to his speed, Yujin had no time to react and was beheaded by Zhang Liao. As the 5 good generals were all defeated by the Dragon Kingdom, the Tiger Army killed him, and the Wei Army was immediately defeated and fled. However, Zhang Liao did not lose his strength and ran directly to the Wei Army's formation and captured Sima Lang alive. On the Wei side, Jingzhou and Suzhou were defeated one after another, and the war on the Shu side was not going well either. With the successive losses of Hanzhong County and Ba County, Shu state encountered a huge crisis. Although Wei lost many counties, its foundation in Yangzhou was not seriously affected. However, Liu Bei's hometown of Shu was in Yizhou. If Pangde captured a few more cities, Shu would be in danger. At the critical moment, Jiesu came up with a plan to Liu Bei. Because Wu Tugu, the current leader of the Yugo kingdom, came to power with the support of Liu Bei, and Wu Tugu had already surrendered to Shu, Liu Bei was asked to make Wu Tugu Bon Ton to resist Ma Teng's army.